So I've been replaying all the Assassin's Creed games from the beginning, and up next was Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. Now I do want to preference from here on out, some of these games are much more dense or much longer, so the formatting of this video might change a little bit from here on out. But with that out of the way, let's go to the pros and cons. As you can see, there are not that many cons to this game as a whole. Like I said here, it's a pirate game first, Assassin's game second. So I used to be one of those people that said it's not really an Assassin's Creed game. It definitely is. But if you're looking for a pirate game, this is the game for you. And then the only other criticism I have is the tailing missions. You know, as much as Assassin's Creed as a franchise, especially the fan base, don't like tailing missions and they love this game has an insane amount of tailing missions. Now, it doesn't, take away from the enjoyment of the game. But that's really all my critiques when it comes to Black Flag. So with that, let's go on to the pros. Alright, to start, possibly the greatest pirate game I've played. I'm sure there are better pirate games out there, but for me, I don't think any game captures the golden age of piracy as well as AC4 Black Flag. So I think that just needs to be said. Edward Kenway is such a compelling and fun character. Also being voiced by the great Matt Ryan, you may know from shows like Constantine. He is phenomenal as Edward Kenway. Within the first 5 minutes, you're like, this character is going to be a blast, and I can't wait to see more of this character. Next up, I really enjoyed all the side activities, particularly the Templar hunts for the keys. I liked them because there was a story for them. Like each Templar hunt, you had to do like 4 missions and follow the story of going after this high-valued Templar target to get these keys that you can use back at your hideout to get a really nice set of Templar armor. But the other activities are great. The naval missions, I think, are really fun. The assassin contracts are very simple, but you're an assassin, so it makes sense to do it. With this one, you're going to get paid. That's why Edward initially does all these things. But, the Mayan steel stones, there's just nothing I didn't really enjoy, with the exception of I just chose not to do the legendary ships. I know that'll probably make some people upset. I don't got time for that. Everything else, though, when it comes to side quests, I really enjoyed. Exploring the Caribbean is easily the best part of Black Flag. Absolutely. Just being able to get on your ship and just explore this very vast world and encounter very unique things, and then having these really cool ship battles where you can just attack the ship or you can board the ship and have some really cool on the boat action or on the ship action, to be correct. I think that's the best part of Black Flag. It's definitely one of those games that you could just get on, play as a pirate, and not even focus on the main story. Just go around pirating and exploring these little nooks and crannies and all these little locations. I think that's an awesome part of Black Flag. Another thing, I actually enjoyed the modern day section. I know it kind of scaled back you having a character with a name, but I thought it was really interesting to see how the world is after what had happened in Assassin's Creed 3. And you being an employee of Abstergo Industries, or in Abstergo Entertainment, that's what it was. I think it was really exciting, and it's cool to see another side of this story that we don't tend to get to see. Like, there's one moment where we go up in this top level and we see the world, and it's like, we don't get really much of a chance to see how the Templars or Abstergo handle certain things. I think Black Flag does a really cool job, and I think it's unique. The story, as I said earlier, follows Edward Kenway. I believe he's a pirateer when he starts, but he is a very ambitious man who wants greater things in not just finances, but in life. And also, the backdrop of the Golden Age of piracy, the Republic of Nassau, all the iconic famous pirates, Blackbeard, Benjamin Hornigold, Charles Vane, Jack Rackham. I think that is another one of those great things. As a fan of the show Black Sails, anytime I get to interact with these famous, iconic pirate characters, I think that just elevates the story even more. Now, these last two things are much smaller moments, but they're moments that I absolutely loved about it. Um, Blackbeard's last lines is possibly the most iconic moment in the entire game, where he utters a line while he's fighting on I believe it's a Spanish ship. In a world without gold, we might have been heroes. Such a cold line to say is the last line that you utter before you're, dispatched. I thought it was just truly epic. I think the last cutscene is beautiful. When you have Anne Bonny singing and it shows you that uh, table where you can imagine seeing all these iconic characters you met throughout the game who are no longer with us. I think that's very, somber, but also very beautiful. And then seeing the ship come to his hideout that's carrying Jenny, where he finally gets to be a father. And he has done so many crazy things throughout the game, and I think it's cool to see the little bit of fear and a little bit of uncertainty in his eyes, which just helps make Edward Kenway just such a phenomenal character when it comes to the entirety of Black Flag. Now, the last thing, I didn't know where to put it in pros and cons, but I do want to mention it. So, the modern day section with Juno, which, if you've played the Assassin's Creed franchise, you're familiar with that name. I'm very sad that we don't get to see the end of her story in this game. Apparently, it's wrapped up in a canon comic book, but it is a little bit of a bummer that we don't get to wrap up that storyline. But I had to throw that in there because it bothered me just a little bit. Overall, Assassin's Creed Black Flag is a fan favorite for a reason. Edward Kenway is a great character. The pirating backdrop, basically getting to see a character like Edward Kenway, who was a privateer with high ambitions, learned that there's more to the world than just riches and fame, and he, learns to fight for a cause. I do think that is a phenomenal story, and I could see that transition from privateer who wants to get rich to becoming an assassin because he wants to be bigger than himself. I think that's a beautiful story. Also, a lot of fun with the naval combat. If you haven't played Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, I highly recommend it. But let me know, what did you think of Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag in the comments?